By now, a lot of you may have picked up on the fact that one of the most powerful decks inside of Pokemon Pocket currently is Gyarados EX. There's a few different variations that run around Gyarados EX, whether that be a Drud stall deck or a Greninja combination deck, but recently a lot of players have been opting into using Chatot paired with Gyarados to give this deck a lot more consistency. And the reason for this is because we pair these two Pokemon with multiple cards that can be discarded at any moment. So that's going to include 2 Helix Fossil, 1 Dome Fossil, and 2 Old Amber. And this is going to be paired with 1 X Speed, 2 Pokeballs, 1 Professor's Research, 2 Misties, 2 Sabrinas, and 1 Giovanni. Now, if this introduction is a little bit confusing, this is going to make a lot more sense once you see how you play this deck in game, and you're going to see many in-game examples of why these discard cards are going to be so valuable in your deck. So I hope you all do enjoy today's video, and if you do and you love watching daily TCGP content, I'd highly recommend hitting that subscribe button because that's exactly what we do here on this channel. So whether that be just looking to be entertained or learn a little bit more about the game, this is the place for you. Either way, thank you guys all so much for watching, and let's get into the games. Well, we're playing first into a grass deck, and we have a relatively decent starting hand here with Chatot, Magikarp, the Pokeball, Old Amber, Misty, like pretty much all the pieces of the puzzle that we want to see off start, minus Gyarados, but that's exactly why we play the hand, and we'll burn a couple of these cards here to really give you guys a good example. So obviously, we're going to play the Misty here off rip on Magikarp. That's the move. Let's get at least 1 heads. 2 is good. 3 is amazing. 4 is crazy. And borderline might even induce a quit here. Now, obviously, we don't have Gyarados yet. But the whole idea around this deck, right, is you lead with Chatot, you eventually find the Magikarp, and you're hunting that Misty as quickly as possible, and then transition into Gyarados. So those are like your 4 core cards. And we're going to lay down the Old Amber and Helix Fossil here. They kind of have a dual ability where obviously we use them as discard cards, but they also protect us from Sabrinas, and especially holding a Magikarp on the bench with just 30 HP and now 4 energy, like it's going to be a target. But, you know, Old Amber and Helix protect us from any trade out. So we're all right. And that took me a while to kind of figure out as I like learned how to play this deck. Originally, I thought just discard immediately, but in reality, it makes more sense to keep your bench full, unless, of course, you're playing against like a Pidgeot or something, but they've got grass decks, so there's nothing really threatening our bench. Their move here is going to be to use Execute into potentially an Executor, maybe an Executor EX. We got the second Misty here that's going to end up being useless. So this is our first turn where we can actually act on the energy. And we're going to go ahead and, unfortunately for Misty, put her back in the deck with Chatot because we're going to Mimic. And we're going to shuffle out the 2 cards that we have here. Get a third. That's going to give us Gyarados and a Research as well. The X Speed we might end up burning, but that's not going to matter because we already have the Gary that we were looking for. Typically, the game doesn't start this good, and I kind of wish we didn't start as well off as we did because I wanted to have a better example of, you know, the tech behind this deck and how it works. But I can't complain about, you know, the best start we could potentially have. And at this point, since we have all the pieces of the puzzle in hand, we just go ahead and Gyarados here. This might be the concede. There's a 0% chance that our opponent is going to be able to win this game. We've got our other 2 starters in hand. Here's the X Speed. And we'll just retreat into Gary. Put that extra energy on Gyarados. And this is where we start breaking down our opponent. Executor, non-EX is going to go down there, where for some reason they had 3 energy. I really don't know what the mindset was there. Just lay all the energy into that card. And to be honest, I'm kind of impressed that they're still sitting here, but this game's essentially over. We're just going to wait it out till the end. Yeah, they conceded. I was like, I just don't see a world where they play it out. So, successful first game here in the video. It might be odd to say, but I kind of want to see some duds with the Misties just so we can show the tech off, especially in a situation where you don't get the perfect pull. Or, I don't mind Misty being in our hand here because we are going up against an electric deck. So I want to see how this gets developed playing against a lightning opposition, but I'm assuming now because they started with Drud, this is most likely actually a Dragonite deck. But we have some decent pieces here to the puzzle. Old Amber, Gyarados, and that Magikarp top deck is perfect. So we actually aren't going to shuffle, but we are still going to lay down the Amber. And then the X speed's going to sit there for now. And this energy is going to go on to... Does it go on? Yeah, it has to go on Magikarp. They have a lot of cards in their hand, but we're going to secure the Gary as soon as possible. And of course, use Misty here. Picked up our first energy. That's all we really need. That's a massive advantage. We borderline might not use Chatot at all again in this game. Yeah, they're not finding what they're looking for either. So the situation here, if I didn't have Gyarados, we would actually be in a perfect spot because we have no cards in our hand, but our opponent has, what, 7? So we could really thin our deck and hunt. But as I'd mentioned before, right now, that's just not important to do. Best thing for us to do is load up Gyarados with this extra energy and try to end the game as quickly as possible. Yeah, that second force quit immediately. Just our starts have been too good. We're gonna mix in some stream games into this video, but I wanted to start off with the first few games again to show off the tech with Livecom. 2-0 within 5 minutes. Crazy. So we're playing second into a Psychic deck, and we have a relatively dull start, which is something I'm actually happy to see after our last 2 games. This deck isn't super Misty heavy, and it may have seemed that way because of our last 2 games. Misty is there as sort of a, quick power up. Obviously, that's just like the power of Misty. You live and die by the coin flips. If you get 1 energy on your Magikarp into Gyarados with Misty, with both uses, typically that's enough to give you a solid advantage against your opponent. We've just had some crazy coin flips back to back, but I really wish we had a lead Chatot to show you guys why it's so consistent. It's because every game you tend to have those Misties come out. So we are acting first on energy, and we do top deck Chatot, which is perfect. We'll use the research here to see if we can get any of the fossils or the amber. Very unexpected set of cards, and this is borderline going to be an organic matchup. We're going to throw both Chatots down, and we're going to leap out here. The reason we did that is just because I don't want to be exposed to a Sabrina at any point. So I want our Magikarp to be protected there on the bench. So they're going to take the same approach to the start as we did. Leap out with their lead, teleport when it comes to Abra. They're going to try to build up Alakazam as quickly as possible there. Once again, pulling Magikarp here. This is just a super organically played match. Doesn't really do anything for us. But what is going to happen here is we're going to throw Misty here on this Magikarp and try to burn off as many cards as possible so we can mimic with Chatot. Able to pick up 2 energy there. The coin flips have been just insane. And just to increase our odds of pulling a Gary here, I do want to throw Magikarp on the bench, but we are going to get 6 new cards. So I'm not going to do that just because we're going to need an empty slot on the bench to discard as many fossils or the old amber as possible. We're going to leave that slot free. We're hunting Gyarados. There we go. Our final card of the pickup, man. Like I said, 6 new cards is crazy. So I hope that explains, why this deck is as consistent as it is because not only do you consistently pull that Gyarados, in 1 or 2 attempts with Mimic, but you also tend to get both of those Misties before you have to act with your Gyarados. And you can see right there exactly what I'm saying happening in real time. We have our Gyarados ready. It's got all 4 energy. We have a spare Misty to go, and we'll guarantee pull another Magikarp here with that Pokeball, which we can then throw another Misty on and get going as fast as possible. We could have thrown down the fossil or the amber and discard it, but at this point it doesn't matter because we're not going to be shuffling our deck anymore. We'll retreat back here, throw the lead Gyarados EX against their Mew. That's going to be a one-shot kill. They're most likely hoping for Alakazam to come out and face our Gyarados, but we just made ourselves even stronger against Alakazam because we removed the energy off of ourselves. So we're not going to be vulnerable to a one-hit. We're not going to be vulnerable to a Sabrina when it comes to losing that spare Magikarp. So this is a great example match. They hit us for 150, and if we didn't burn that Rampaging Whirlpool energy off of ourselves, we actually would have been hit there for, you know, the full damage. So that's a GG. That's just the luck of the draw when it comes to Gyarados having that random energy removal. Hey, but I'll take it. I'll take it. That was a great example of how the deck plays out. Playing first here against a fighting deck, leading with Chatot. Not bad at all. We have Misty. We have a Helix Fossil. This is going to be a tough game, though, because this is a very OG meta deck. I was going to say, a lot of the fighting decks that are currently meta do get up on you very, very quickly. This one doesn't feel like it's going to be one of them. Definitely Cubone into Marowak EX and then Sandshrew into Sandslash are just very quick, hard-hitting decks. But I think we'll have enough time here to build, depending on what we pull on the next turn. Both Helix Fossils being laid down now is pretty helpful because we'll be able to thin our deck. So we are hunting the Magikarp. Hopefully they do a research or just get more cards. Doesn't look like that's going to be their plan, but they are going to growl at us, so not going to mess with our Chatot at all. We actually find a research ourselves, so we'll have another opportunity here at getting Magikarp early. If we do, we wouldn't be able to use Misty, which is fine, because we just happen to draw like relatively one of the more perfect hands. But our Pokeball, even though it was a 1-3 odd of pulling Chatot, does it. So we actually are going to Mimic here and reset our line. I'm not scared of losing Gyarados or Misty because I know the power of this deck. I know I can get them back. But what's very important is that we get Magikarp as soon as possible so we can start developing. Looks like we're going to whiff on that Mimic. We still have top deck potential. Let's see if they move Sandshrew in. They're not going to. They're actually just going to play Marowak, which is going to do 40 damage to us. So we'll survive 2 turns here with Chatot. I think that's going to be more than enough. We'll force a Sabrina on the Fossil. I don't mind that at all. Typically when you run an EX deck where you plan on sweeping with one single card, it doesn't really hurt you to lose those early points, since your entire game plan, as I'd mentioned, revolves around sweeping with one card. And we're in an interesting position here since we still don't have Magikarp. So we're going to go ahead and Sabrina here to disrupt them and also thin our deck. Currently have 10 cards, but we're going to go through a decent amount of them here. We're going to drop the Dome Fossil alongside the Helix Fossil, and then we're going to discard both of these. Typically, I would leave them up as blockers, but since they have Marowak hitting for 40, I don't want to just give them all these free points. And I don't see a scenario where they Sabrina us to get that other Chatot on the bench. But we are going to mess around and burn the X speed as well. So when we dig back in the deck, although they only have 2 cards, we're going to have a better chance at pulling this Magikarp and this Gyarados and Misty again. We really need them to load up on cards. Redrawing Gyarados there. We'll have one more attempt at this before we're kind of in trouble and on crucial life support mode. Let's see if they burn this energy off of the Sandshrew. This deck is very OG meta, by the way. This was like the first week meta fighting deck. It's gonna be the last turn we can lead with Chatot. Still not finding the card we're looking for, and they're keeping their deck relatively small at the moment. We're gonna burn through our other Sabrina once again to increase our odds of pulling Magikarp on this Mimic. We've got a second energy down there. We're really going to need to see Magikarp and Misty. Not a total whiff. Not a total whiff. We're going to Giovanni and leave Sandshrew in. So obviously Sandshrew clears. What's unfortunate about the position we got put into here, though, is a Sabrina for them does clutch up the game for them. Don't have much of a choice besides just laying this energy down on Magikarp. We'll put the old Amber on the bench because either way we're going to be cooked to a Sabrina. Able to pull a second Magikarp, which we'll lay down here also. And ideally we can grab 2 Gyarados here, and we still need to find 1 Misty. Our opponents have done a really good job at keeping their hand count low. I don't see us dying with Chatot here. The only thing that's going to win them the game right now is going to be a Sabrina. We end up getting Gyarados. Still not the best pulls. See if they have Marowak EX, then we're in trouble. They lead with base Marowak, so I'm going to assume no. So we'll have time to stall while Gyarados gets charged up with 2 Misties in the deck ready to fight. And those are our literal last 2 cards. So incredibly unlucky when it comes to what we've pulled so far. But you can see how many opportunities we've given ourselves with this system. I said it before, we are on life support, but we're not vulnerable to a Sabrina at the moment. And we're going to have 2 guaranteed Misties back to back in our next 2 turns. So no attack's gonna be coming in from us now. But with Marowak only being the base version, I think we'll be okay to hold off here. Misty giving us 1 energy should be enough to win us the game. We've got to hurry though. That Sandshrew ready to go. There's the Marowak EX. If they lead with it, we could be in a very good spot because we're going to one-shot it if we land this Misty. And then we only have to deal with one of their opponents. This is a risky play. It's a high roll for them. If they double heads us, we're in trouble. They don't. And we're still going to have 100 HP left over, which none of their Pokemon clear. So a Misty heads here wins us the game. Assuming we don't get Sabrina'd. We don't do it because, you know, of course Misty doesn't clutch up for us. So we just need to dodge a double heads here. If we could dodge both, that would be big. This ended up being a very nice counter against us because they've kept their hand count low and we drew pretty much dead the whole game. They might take the guaranteed damage with Sand Slash. It looks like that's what they're going for. They're going to Giovanni it as well. So let's see if Misty can hang in there and give us a fighting chance. We have a free retreat with Gyarados EX in the lead spot. 3 heads here would be valuable. There's 1. There's 2. We're still in it. We're not completely out. All of our cards that were needed in this game came at the end. But we're going to have a fresh Gyarados up and ready to go. This would be an insane comeback if we end up pulling it off. We got 3 energy on our lead. 180 total HP to work with. They might burn Sand Slash here and come at us again with Marowak EX. I don't think that would be the move. I think they should just take the guaranteed 70 and hope they get double heads here with Marowak EX. We're finally on the offense for the first time this game. I think this is our first time swinging at our opponent. Taking the energy from Gyarados. I don't see that really being a problem. Let's see if they send in Marowak. They don't. Well, they do, but they don't. I thought that for sure they'd be thrown in the EX form. They're just going to be ticking away at our HP guaranteed. And at this point, we're vulnerable to Sand Slash. So the question is, how many cards do they have in their hand? 6. And you can tell that we've been thinned out for a while. We haven't had any cards in our deck for a few turns now. So it really shows the pace and how fast we go through this. So they're going to need a top deck Sand Slash or land 1 heads against us. Don't get me wrong. We're very behind here. We are very behind. Let's see what it comes down to. They're going to research for Sand Slash. I want to say they didn't get it. So now we have to dodge 2 heads. Can we do it? There's 1. There's 2. Oh my god. What a comeback from behind. A game where we essentially drew dead for multiple turns turns into a victory. Between being extremely unlucky and lucky at the same time, we ended up getting a really crazy win there. All right, a little 4-0 gameplay here on the live commentary portion of the video. We're going to show you guys some stream highlights now where we are learning the deck and having a great time with it. Those games, we pretty much rolled our opponents with early game Misties, and it essentially was like the 2-0 start that we had in the live recording portion. But you have to include that in part of this deck's strength because Misty is its wild card. When Misty doesn't land, that's where you still have that consistency with being able to, 1, grab a second Misty, but also just have your Gyarados and Magikarp up and running, typically usually fast. So you can dump a lot of that energy organically onto it. So I hope you guys see like the power behind this deck. And I definitely think that rocking a discard deck with other Pokemon is feasible and possible. I just think because you can throw multiple Misties on typically faster than normal, it just is more valuable with water decks. But anyway, let's get into the stream games. I think what stops the boring and repetitiveness from coming in to be a factor for me is the randomness, like coin flips, deck pulls. But also, I don't use the same deck longer than a few hours. I definitely don't use the same deck for multiple days. So like playing this deck is completely different tech than a different one. So we got the perfect start here. Unfortunately, we're going second actually, but I think that benefits us with this deck, right? Their Mankey will chip away at Chatot's HP. And a Mankey into Primate will 2-hit us, but we'll have plenty of pulls to hopefully have Chatot do what it needs to do. And we have the research here too. The headset that I use is the Astro 840 headset. Wait, are they? No, I was about to say, are they using the same setup as us? Nah. Pokeball here is big. Should secure a Chatot or a Magikarp. We got Magikarp, which is great because we have the Misty too. There's really no need for the Professor's research now. Yeah, because we're going to want to burn our cards. I don't want to have extra cards in my hand. No luck there on Misty. Still going to drop the Helix Fossil down. And then we're going to Mimic here so we can get 5 cards in our hand instead of the 2. Alright, we found Gyarados. This is again our first like game really playing out the deck. The last one where we just kind of won instantly didn't really show off the tech because we pulled the right cards immediately off draw. But this is how this deck is played out, right? You lead with Chatot. You ideally get a Magikarp on the bench quickly, so all of your spare energy just starts to organically go on that eventual Gyarados. And then we use these items like Old Amber and Dome Fossil to drop on our extra bench slots. And then we just burn them. That way we keep our card count low. Like, we're not going to use the Professor's research here either. Actually, low-key, I think we do because we're going to want to try to get another Chatot. So we'll see. If not, we lay... I think we lay Magikarp down here. In an ideal world, Chatot would have lived a little bit longer. We could have loaded up a bit more energy. But there's still always... Wait, we have a Pokeball. Hello, hello, hello. Perfect. So we can discard both of these. Then we get Chatot there. Lay this energy down. We'll be missing out on the Gyarados, but that's not going to affect us at all. Because again, we can just Mimic here. Increase our deck size by 1. Gives us a greater possibility of finding Misty. We don't, but we have a Helix Fossil. His deck is fast, but his deck won't be able to trade our Gyarados. If we can get it up and running. We only have 5 cards. We do have only 7 though. Did they double research? They did. Double research and Pokeball. We don't mind giving them the 2 points. Especially with Misty coming out there. Discard the Helix Fossil. We'll see what Misty does before we lay this energy anywhere. Okay. That's big. I could burn the X speed now. They have 4 cards. We can Mimic one more time. And have our whole hand. I think at this point we just X speed out. And let Gyarados sweep. I would have liked to get 1 more energy, but they're only going to hit us for 150. I may have misplayed it. I should have left Chatot in to take 1 more hit. But I already dropped energy on Gyarados, so I just couldn't make the play that I wanted to make. Yeah, I'm well aware of the mistake that I made. Again, this is my first game with this deck. We don't run potions in this deck, do we? I think we're all right. We end up getting the Sabrina there. If we let Chatot die, though, in that scenario, then we are vulnerable to a Sabrina. So as of right now, we're not vulnerable to getting, 1 hit. So they're debating if they're going to kill their Marshadow or kill their Aerodactyl. Looks like Aerodactyl's going to fall here. So as long as we don't lose an energy, then we should be GG's. Now, we also run double Sabrina in this deck, so there's still a good chance that we pull another one. And there's not that many cards. They conceded. We did lose our energy, though. But it's all right. So this is, I think, the worst case scenario with this deck is leading off with Magikarp. We are going second with a Pokeball. So there's a 2 to 3 chance that we end up pulling a Chatot. They might be playing the same deck, if not a similar deck. Let's see who they get. Yeah, they were cooked that game because Gyarados killed every one of their Pokemon. So finding the Sabrina was big. So it's going to be a Starmie Gyarados deck with the Vaporeon. We get it immediately, but we don't want Gyarados on the front line like that. So we really want to see Chatot. Yeah, this is actually worst case scenario. We're going to lead the old Amber in. I'm going to assume they most likely make that same play where they just have their lead Magikarp leap out. I think we're going to be in a very tough spot if we don't find Chatot right now. The odds of it happening, though, are very unlikely. They're going to have Starmie immediately in, too. I guess we did act first on the energy. So who knows? Maybe we pull our Misty. Could also just ruin the game. There's our Helix fossil. Yeah, this is tough. This is tough. Don't want that Starmie hitting me. So this is a game where we're actually using our items as defense shields from Sabrina, so our Gyarados doesn't take too much damage. Until one of the Misties come into play, we're always going to be ahead on energy. And that Starmie is going to be vulnerable to a Misty play. This is what we don't want to see them, is just getting one head even. Heads once here kills us. It's taking a long time, so I feel like they stacked heads like crazy. Oh my god, that was such a long one. Yeah, they stacked heads. They stacked heads. Jesus. Oh my god. 7? At least it's on Starmie, who only needed 1. Whew. We're cooked. We're cooked, boys. It took so long. I was like, we're in trouble. It's all right. We're going to frontline the Helix fossil. And then we have a trade play ourselves. Come on. He pulled 7? I need 2. I need 2. I hate this game. What? We're trolling? Are we trolling? Yeah, if they Gyarados here, we're cooked. Bro, how come he gets 7 and I get 0? How's that fair? Oh, man. Double swipe up and close the game, man. No. We have a chance. We have a chance. They don't find Gyarados, so none of this matters. Good for them. They got Misty. We have Gyarados. Them stalling and thinking this long, I think, means we don't find Gyarados. So they're debating who to murder. And they murder Eevee. Which is odd, because now they can't transfer that energy to Vaporeon. Maybe their thought process is, yeah, get the double heads for the second 2-point. No, why did that take so long, too? Did they get 3? Oh my god! Who is this man? Bro, what? I hate this guy. God dang. Bro, Eevee just hit for 100. At least they have a lot of energy, so we don't steal from ourselves, right? Come on. Oh my god, I took my own energy. What are we doing right now? Why does this man have 20 energy? This is crazy. The best head/tails gamer of all time. This guy's playing the wrong deck. He needs to be a Celebi main, dude. Let's just keep dodging Gary. I mean, actually, it doesn't even matter, right? Because they fumbled. Because we have Sabrina in hand. If they Gyarados their bench, then we win. That would be crazy. They pulled a card there, right? Was it another Eevee? Are we cooked? There's another Staryu. Not worried about that. I don't see... I mean, unless they have a Misty. I just don't see a world where this Sabrina would matter now. Okay, never mind. Now I see a world where it matters. Oh, we have Giovanni. We might as well just take care of this Gyarados. So then we can save the Sabrina to one-shot whatever. They're probably like so confused because when you ever see a Gyarados deck, rock Giovanni. Only thing that cooks us here is a top deck Gary. 1 out of 4 chance we're cooked. I think we're cooked. I think we're cooked. Wait, we might not be cooked. They're not putting it down immediately. We might not be cooked. I think we found a way to win the game versus the 13 head flip in a row. Wow, we won that. We actually won it. They could only get heads, and then they don't find the Gary. He may have won the battle, but we won the war. Magikarp lead, 2 Misties in hand, and a Professor's Research with us going second against a Psychic deck. Oh, man. We need to get Magikarp out of there. So we're not going to Misty this turn. We're going to Professor's Research. But as soon as we have a basic, if we get a valuable Misty... really played it as well as possible. No, like I said, there was one mistake I did and that decided the outcome of the game. If I let... again, they maybe could have capitalized on us, but if we let either Magikarp take the death there to Thunderbolt, they could have Sabrina'd us and we lost that way. Or I could have left like the Helix Fossil in to back us up. We could have won that game. Okay, in this scenario, we actually do Misty now that we have the Helix Fossil. Whatever, we'll try this out. If they have Sabrina, we're cooked. Never mind, I forgot I don't ever land a Misty, so I don't know what I was worried about. Yeah, he needs 2 energy to attack. But watch, we're gonna find a way. They definitely, I don't want to throw on a tinfoil hat, but compared to every other coin flip in the game, I think Misty definitely hits the least. I want to say they shadow nerfed Misty to make the coin flips not 50-50, but at the same time, that feels like such nonsense, especially with how often I see people roll like 6 or 7 at a time against me. But dude, it's gotta be shadow nerfed, right? It can't be real. Chatot. Don't really need Chatot because the game all revolves around getting your Gary and Misty, which we got immediately. So let's see if we can get 2 heads. I'll forgive the game for 2 heads here. 4 in a row, 5 in a row. How many is that now? Of whiffs. That's tough. That's tough. Back-to-back games of Mist. I see why her name is Misty. Right? Right, boys? Am I right, chat? Bring up the vids. Dude, what did you do to Misty? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how people hit Misty. It's not possible. Y'all are crazy because it doesn't happen. This is an odd deck. This is a non-EX deck. My Misties miss every time, but my Moltres hits 60-some% of the time. It's insane. We got the Helix there to protect us from the Sabrina play. And I think we'll be fine after that. It's because I don't have the Misty full art. Dude, I've tried to buy it too. I spent too much money trying to get Misty. The only time I'm a Misty player is when it's irrelevant to the game. Then they'll give me like 12. But yeah, enjoy. I don't see a scenario where they win this because we draw an X speed here, right? Psych. I guess that's the scenario they win, is where we don't draw an X speed. It's alright, because we can stall for 1 extra turn. Just in case they red card there. So we sacrifice Chatot. Gary goes in with enough energy to cover if we ever have any taken out. And then on the next turn, we remove Helix Fossil, so they have to just find a way to solo our Gyarados, which they're not going to be able to. Because their only play is going to be hit Gyarados once with Jinx. And then they're cooked. Get those out of the deck. I'm actually not going to use this energy either. Just to reduce the amount of damage we're about to take. So in an ideal world, we steal our energy. We don't. We take it off the dead Jinx. Yeah, they should have swapped to their Gardevoir at some point to start getting the energy. Because Mewtwo's only going to be able to hit for 50. So they're cooked. They're going to find a way to do the double Giovanni play on our Gyarados. No reason not to have this energy on now. But it literally does nothing, so we'll take it off. Dang, Groot said woof. We got two options here now. Either Sabrina for the win, or if we pull it, Geo for the win. The psychic attack sound effect gets me every time. Dude, I'm telling you, it's so goofy. Burn! It's so stupid. They need to change it. It sounds so unserious. They could have actually had a fighting chance there if they hit me with another Mewtwo on the bench. Load up the energy now. Let's see if they quit or if they accept it. That was a close game though. That was a good one. That one felt like one that, you know, Chatot didn't really do anything, but at least we had the fossils and the you know, items to stall. So there is a little bit of variety to the tech here, where you can either use Chatot perfectly and grab your entire deck fast, or you can stall with the items. I like that. Going second there, which is gonna be big. Grass type. Not the strong start. If Misty delivered, you would be good even though you were in a disadvantage. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of outs. It's a really solid deck. The deck wins tournaments too. My opponent killed my Amber and then used the food to bring it back. Really? It's interesting what I'm hearing. See if we can get Chatot. Oh, hello there, Birdman. Let's get you activated and going on the next turn, and then we'll Misty. Hopefully land something. Pull a Gary with the Chatot. Ooh, we got ourselves a game against the Celebi deck. That's why I really want to see a Celebi deck get started. I want to know how this deck performs against it, because we haven't had two Garys going yet. Even though it's definitely possible. If Misty gets us two, I think we could potentially have two Gyarados built up. Since this is a Celebi deck, unless they have Executor, and even then it doesn't matter. Oh, we're good. I was gonna say, we could also throw Giovanni out right now. We're gonna throw the X speed out, and then we'll get rid of the fossil there. Almost like guarantee us a Gary. This hand is going crazy right now. There's another Misty. There's Gary, 2, and a Pokeball to give us the 100% chance Magikarp. I want to see if we can develop 2 Magikarp. Like, truly, that's my goal. They're gonna use blue there, which, I mean, we all know does nothing. I'm not sure why it came out, but it did. Geo's back. At this point, we have so many cards, though. Doesn't matter. We have everything we need, all the pieces of the puzzle. Evolve Gyarados, Pokeball for our Magikarp. We're going to drop that down and use the other Misty. Let's see if we can get both Gyarados going. Nah, it would be too good to be true. Misty is just not built like that. They do have Superior already online, which would have been crazy if they did get the Celebi. But at this point, we just retreat. Chatot into Gyarados. We'll drop the Helix Fossil. Put in the old Amber. This is where we attack. So on the next turn, we'll also have our other Gyarados EX online. And it's second energy placed. That's as much of a GG as it could be. I mean, we rushed them. Like I said, I really wanted to see them develop as quickly as possible. And they did have a really good start. Like Superior was online as fast as it could be. The only problem is they just never found Celebi. But I think if they do, max, they get 1 point on us before we go crazy. I think they just left. They didn't close out the app. They just walked away. They chucked their phone and walked away. Also, we gotta say one more time, man. Huge shout out to Milo today for the $100 super chat. Brian followed that up with another $1 himself, and Ryan became a member on the channel. So shout out to everybody. Crazy day. And everybody watching the YouTube video, I just want to say thank you so much for all the support y'all have been showing on the Pokemon channel. The growth of this page has been insane. It's been such a fun game to stream and make videos for, spam the shorts. Like, it's been a breath of fresh air with all the chaos that the game has. So just wanted to say thank you.